welcome back to another video. So today I've got Commodore 64 and a Commodore VIC-20. And I picked both of these up recently. I haven't tried to turn them on yet to see if they work. They were both reportedly untested, which usually means tested and they don't work. We'll go with untested. So the C64 came with a power brick, which I have here. Now, these power bricks are notoriously faulty at this point in their life. You should never plug these into a Commodore system. There are some adapters you can buy that sit between the power supply and the connector that will limit the voltage, but what happens is some components in here start to fail, and it will put out a really high voltage on the 5-volt rail, which will fry your system. So don't use these. But anyway, what I've done is I've purchased a replacement power supply from, I believe this comes from Poland. So there's a few aftermarket C64 power supplies that you can buy, including this one. They're not super cheap. I think this was like 70 or 80 bucks, but you know it's going to work. It's made with modern components and it's not going to fry your system. So let's get this unboxed. Let's see if these systems even work. All right, so I thought I was recording. Apparently I didn't hit the record button, but I did take this apart just to check things out. As you can see, things are in really good shape. All the tabs are here and not broken. The original RF shields here. It looks pretty untouched, and inside I took the lid off the can so I could see everything. Everything does seem to be in great shape. Without taking the board out, it's not impossible, but difficult to tell if there's been any rework done, but just looking from the top, it doesn't seem to be anything there. Let's put this back on. And I haven't powered it on yet, so we didn't miss the big finale. But let me readjust the camera now that I have things hooked up. All right, so I've got this little portable TV that I use. So on the power supply, there is a little switch, so I'm gonna turn that to on. I've got the machine off still. So I've got this on channel 3-0, which is perfect. All right, so I've got RF out plugged into this teal cable, teal going into here. Let's see if this thing works. So I'm gonna hit the power switch here. And again, I don't have the keyboard hooked up, I don't have the LED hooked up, but it seems to be working. All right, well, that's awesome. I don't know if you can see that. I can turn the brightness up on this a little bit, maybe down. Yeah, it looks like everything's working here. So that's awesome. So let me turn it off. Let me get the keyboard reconnected. So first I'll reconnect the power LED. And then we can reconnect the keyboard cable. I do notice that the keyboard cable, some of the pins are slightly bent in one direction, but that could have been from when it was manufactured. Again, it's hard to tell if this machine's been opened or not. So I'm gonna just reinstall the screws before I lose them. So while I'm doing this, I can tell you that I don't believe I've ever used a real Commodore 64 previously. You know, you always hope these machines work when you get them, but I was kind of looking forward to doing a repair on a C64. I've watched a lot of Adrian's Digital Basement, and that seems to be his specialty. So, you know, I was hoping to be able to take some of the things I've learned from watching his channel and, you know, put them to use, but no such luck, at least not yet. So maybe I'll fry it, and we'll get to do that, but for the meantime, let's plug everything back in, flip it back on. So the power LED comes on, which is great. Yeah, and everything looks like it's working. So let's just test out the keys quick. Yeah, so we've got what appears to be a fully functional C64. Well, great. So let's get this guy switched off. I don't have any cartridges for it at this point. I'm going to get around to getting something, but nothing yet. So let's get the VIC-20 out. So I'm going to do like I did with the other one. I'm going to take this one apart and check out the inside. Make sure everything looks okay. What I had mentioned in the video when I was taking it apart and not recording is that you want to make sure you get screws back to where they belong. The 3 screws on the bottom are all the same length, but the screws that hold the motherboard down aren't necessarily all the same length. So there could be some damaged plastic if you put the screws back in correctly. All right, so we got this guy open. First thing I see is this heat shield here. I guess it's okay, it's a little loose, but there's a lot of dust in this guy. Much more than the C64, which was super clean. So we'll need to clean this, but that's not a big deal. There is no RF shield. I can see that there was at one point an RF shield that was cut off. The C64 still had the original RF shield, which was cardboard coated in foil, not, you know, a metal RF shield, which I think is the earlier ones had a full metal shield, later ones didn't. But yeah, I mean, I don't see any sort of major signs of anything looking too bad. Fuse seems to be intact. So I think what I'll do is just leave everything connected here and see if we can get this one to power on. Something not happy in here. All right, so that means repair on this machine. And we'll disconnect the, so we turn this guy off. We'll disconnect the keyboard, the LED, set that off to the side. Take this apart, see if we can see any sort of indication of anything that might look bad on the board itself. And again, these are the screws that you need to put back correctly. So I've got the short guys in the front here, and I think we'll have the long guys in the back, unless I'm mistaken. Nope, that is the case. So if you put them back in the wrong place, it will push through the plastic on the bottom and leave a mark where they connect into the board. I think we got all the screws out. It feels like there is a shield on the bottom still. Indeed there is. So is this soldered on? Yes it is. It looks like it might have been taken off in the past and not resoldered. Alright, so bottom of the board, definitely has been some rework here. That's under the can, and there's been some rework here. That is under the can as well. Actually, looks like those might be the only rework I see on here. All right, so I went ahead and pulled all of the socketed chips out and got some deoxit into all of the sockets. I didn't do the keyboard controller or the user port controller because you don't need those for it to boot. I did get the VIC chip out, and I turned it on, waited for a few seconds, and success. So let's just turn it off, turn it back on. You know, it's also possible that, you know, just reseating them did it, but certainly cleaning them made a lot of the difference. So let me plug the keyboard in and see if we can't type. All right, so I got the keyboard connected, powered LED reconnected, and if I hit some keys here, see that return works. So yeah, everything seems like it's working. I got the keyboard tested out, so we're gonna go ahead and get this one taken apart more and give this board a nice cleaning. Just turn it off here, because as I'd mentioned, it's quite dirty. So I'm gonna give it some soap and water, and then finish it up with some isopropyl alcohol to get the water out and then let it dry. Yeah, I think we've got 2 working vintage Commodore system. So yeah, I think we'll wrap it up here. So really happy to see the Commodores working, the VIC-20 and the C64. As I mentioned, I've got the SD to IEC card coming, and I do need to clean up that VIC-20. The board's pretty dirty, but we'll take care of that before the next video, and then we'll see if we can get these things running some software. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and have a great rest of your day.